Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Make It Simple TV. I am Heather Porter, one of the co-hosts and co-founders of Autopilot Your Business. Now, in this show, we bring in our inner circle of experts from all over the world to chat about life and business lessons and to leave you with 3 simple tips that you can action straight away. And of course, I could not do this alone, so I'm joined by my co-host, Andrew McCauley. Hello, Andrew. Andrew is on mute. Here we go, Andrew.
We are having some fun today, I tell you. Hey, it's great to be on the call. I've actually got my mute button off, so I'm ready to have a chat. Looking forward to the call with Judith Wilson today.
Indeed, hello.
Wonderful. Hi, Judith. All right, guys, so Judith, I want to introduce Judith to you. Judith Wilson is leading and innovating the corporate training industry with more than 17 years experience creating and designing soft skill training courses using the science of accelerated learning. Judith leads and trains the largest network of specialized industry trainers through her company, Upfront Communications. Now, she's also authored 3 books and has been featured in the Financial Review and interviewed on Channel 7's The Morning Show. Welcome, Judith. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Heather. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to finally meet you. Your websites keep crossing our paths. We have some friends that have stumbled upon your websites, and you've just sort of been, at least in my radar, for a little while. So I'm excited that we have the opportunity to finally connect, even if it's publicly in front of everybody. So, Judith, we love to start the show with your journey. We love to know where you've come from and how you've gotten involved in the industry that you are in right now.
Well, I don't think I found my industry. I think it found me. It was one of those cases of it literally wasn't a planned idea. It wasn't in a business plan or what I thought I was going to do with my career. And it's a quaint little story that people find hard to believe, because when I finished my journalism degree, I was waiting around, waiting for this amazing journalism job to land in my lap. And while I was waiting, I thought, I'm going to need to do something to get some pocket money just until this happens. And I had been a Toastmaster, if anyone's familiar with Toastmasters International, and I thought, I'll go into schools and teach kids. So I wrote a little booklet, and I said, this is how you stand, this is how you talk, this is what you do. And I went into the private schools and said, if you want to come to extra classes, I'll teach you, go and get your money from your parents and come back next Wednesday and let's see how we go. And it went really well. They all lined up with their little fistfuls of cash ready to pay me. And I had been doing that for about 3 or 4 weeks when one evening the phone rang, and it was one of the dads. And I thought, oh my goodness, what does this mean? And he said, my son's shown me what you've been teaching him, and I've read your little booklet, and I would like you to come in and train the board. And he was the CEO of Johnson & Johnson Southern Africa. And literally from there, I just put the Johnson & Johnson logo on the front of the little workbook and did exactly the same as I had with my kids, because I knew no different. And that was 17 years ago now.
Absolutely brilliant. So tell me a little bit about your company. How long have you actually been in business?
I've been in business for 17 years. So the first business I ran was in Zimbabwe. If people are wondering about the accent, it's a Zimbabwean accent. And then I moved my business to London when Zimbabwe wasn't going that well. Ran my business in London, and the third company has been in Australia, where we've been running now for 10 years. That's the Upfront Communications corporate training business. And then about 7 years ago, I started the Trainer's Ultimate Toolkit, which helps people to get into training. So if they're passionate speakers, if they want to crack the corporate code, so to speak, that's what I teach people to do.
Hey,
now,
Judith. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
You've written 3 books. I believe it's 3 books. Give us a little rundown of what was the motivation behind writing the books, and what's been your favorite book?
Second question first, I guess. My favorite book is the one that gets the best reaction from everybody else. And that, I would say, is the one that says, become a millionaire working just 2 days a week. People think that that's absolutely amazing, and it is doable. And so I guess that would be my favorite, just because people react and love it and say, oh, wow, I want that.
I have to ask, what's the main message behind that book? You know, to work 2 days a week and become a millionaire. What is the main message? Give us a little plug, give us a little teaser for those of us that are interested now in reading the book.
The most important thing is that we can realize that if we're passionate about helping people and we're prepared to learn particular skills and train groups, you're very, very leveraged. You know, the difference between coaching is it's one-on-one. There's a ceiling on what you can charge per hour, and there's a ceiling on how many people you can help. Whereas training leverages it so beautifully in that you can train bigger groups. And of course, from a monetization point of view, it's amazing because there's no ceiling on what you can charge. And so this is teaching people how to work smarter rather than harder, because in 2 days, they're able to charge. My trainers, I get them to start at about $3,500 a day and move up from that as they become more specialized. So you can see how it really can equate to really nice numbers, and it's meaningful work. You're getting to work with lots of people.
Yeah, Andrew and I have a big background in the speaking industry, speaking, but also working with big speakers, and are huge fans of the one-to-many model. It's such an incredible way to build your business, and that's why we work a lot, you know, in the membership site space, because the same concept is sort of training people online so you can reach more people and share your message that way. Judith, what is one resource that you absolutely right now cannot live without?
Something I came across just a little while ago that has been fabulous in our business is called Smartsheet. I don't know if many people know of Smartsheet, but it's a great sheet that people in your team can all log on to and update. And so we keep it for projects, for a client, when a client proposal has been sent out, has somebody followed up with them, has an acceptance form been done, and when teams are working on different elements of different projects, you can update it, you can color code it, you can have red for urgent, this needs action, and I just find it brilliant because too many of us get in our little silos and we've got everything on our laptops or on our computers and it's great for us. But from a sharing point of view, we have found that really helpful.
Hey, Judith, when you talk as far as coaching goes, what's the biggest obstacle or hurdle that you find with most clients about moving forward? You know, what is the biggest block that they often find when you're coaching somebody?
I think there are a number of blocks that come up time and time again. One would be, very sadly, mindset. It's belief, it's confidence that you can do it. That great quote from Henry Ford, if you think you can or think you can't, you're absolutely right. It really is so true that I find people are very passionate. They'd love to do this. They'd love to help others, but the little voice in the back of their head goes, oh, you probably can't, you probably get it wrong, I don't know if you're capable. And if we could just put that voice aside and go, why don't I give it a go? Why don't I just see how things go right at the beginning? Another thing that I find is an issue when people take.
This is one of those fun days, Andrew, when we have loads of technical funness. See if we can get Judith.
Having lots of them myself. I think. But while we're waiting, I just want to say that, you know, we've had a couple of people on, as far as coaches go, who've said the same sort of thing. You know, it's all, you hear about mindset all the time, and you know, as you know, I've been around a lot of speakers, and they'll go and teach how to do something, but a big part of what they teach is mindset. It doesn't matter whether it's you know, mindset for real estate investing or whether it's mindset for personal power sort of stuff. Mindset is really, really huge, and I know when Judith was talking about that, and I think she might be back on now, but Judith, we're just saying that mindset is a very big part of a lot of people's products as offerings, because mindset is the thing that holds people back, so much. So we're just filling in the gap while you were taking a quick technical break.
Technical break, I love it.
So, hey Heather, did you have another question there, or did you want to just dig in a little bit deeper?
Look, I think at this point what I'd love to do is let's dive into the 3 simple tips that you have for our viewers and listeners all over the world. Now, Judith, these could be 3 simple tips that you yourself believe are going to be something that either somebody can use to get ahead in life or business or both. So please get started, get stuck in. What's tip number 1?
Well, leading on from what I was saying about being a generalist rather than a specialist, I would say in any field, to specialize is the way forward. Too many of us try and go inch deep, mile wide, instead of going inch wide, mile deep. And what that means is be really, really specialized and focused in one particular area and go mile deep, but there's heaps and heaps and heaps of opportunity and business within that. There's a great way that I tend to describe this is to say, when we go to a doctor, we pay the money, we go to the doctor, and if the doctor says, yeah, you need to lose a few kilograms or something like that, we say, yeah, maybe I should listen, it was a doctor, but we're still a bit iffy. But when we go to the specialist, there's no limit on what we're going to pay. We don't say, oh, I've been told to go to a specialist, but let's see, I don't know if I want to spend the money. We go, wow, I've been put onto a specialist, they're the best, I simply have to spend the money. And by Jove, when that specialist tells us to do something, we are absolutely going to do it, because that came from the bigwig that knows. And I think if we position ourselves in the same sort of way as the specialist who only needs to know one particular small area of what you specialize in, you're able to command better attention, you're able to position yourself better, you're able to charge more. It is just win, win, win. So I would say definitely specialize. The second thing I would say is put your hand up to speak at anything and everything. Nothing positions you better than getting out there as a speaker. People pay attention, they go, great, who's this person that's speaking? They always want to speak to you at the end and say, can I have your business card? Because it immediately positions you as a guru. And I think lots of people don't look for the opportunities to speak enough. There are heaps out there, from Chamber of Commerce meetings that are always needing somebody to fill, and radio stations. There are people wanting almost 24/7 content, and if you've got useful content that can help and enable others, I think that's definitely the way to go. And my third point would be to be smart about what I call fishing in the right pond. With your business, fish in the pond that has the fish and big fish. And by that I mean, don't just market to everyone and say, this is what I do.
Right when it's getting good, Andrew.
No, I know. Well, I like what she's saying, and as soon as she comes back, I'll let her finish off that third one. But she's saying specialize, and you and I talk about this all the time, especially in internet marketing, is that you want to find the right niche or the niche, depending on where you're listening from. What's that niche that you're looking for, and how specific are you? Because there's money. Well, they say riches are in the niches over here in the US, but there is a lot more money. And Judith was saying that if you go to a specialist doctor who's going to make a lot more money than a general doctor, because they are the perceived gurus of it. So it doesn't matter, I think, whether it's in the internet space or in your general business space. If you can really specialize, then that's a great point. The other thing I was going to say was the second part was speaking. Get out and speak. You and I speak a lot. We go and speak as many times as we can. I'm speaking probably two or three times a week at the moment. And you don't have to have crowds of thousands of people. We've spoken on big stages, but we've also spoken on a little lots of little stages. You know, you were doing a round table, and I think you had one or two people in front of you for an hour or so. But still, those one or two people, you can make a big impact because they can be your biggest advocates. You know, once they start to hear who you are and what you're all about, they could be the biggest fans, and they could be instrumental in telling other people about who you are. So I would say don't even stress about how big your audience is or isn't. Just go out and practice speaking. What do you got to say about that one? What do you got to say about that, H?
What do I got to say? Yeah, I completely agree, because the second you are speaking, you are the expert. And as Judith was saying, there's specialists as well. And people, you know, they seek out people with areas of specialty and are willing to pay more. So, and the whole thing where she's saying go to Chamber of Commerce is a very smart tip. You know, any business owner has an area of expertise, and people need what you have. So Chamber of Commerce, you know, for a while there, I think I've spoken at maybe four. There's a big, huge exhibition company here in Australia. It's also in the UK. It's also in Asia. It's called Reed Exhibitions, and they do, you know, big expos. And I've spoken at their business seminars for 4 or 5 times for their sort of beauty, spa and beauty expos about social media marketing. So they're always looking for people, business owners, like people that walk the talk, that are doing what they're saying. Not necessarily seminar speakers, but real experts that are happy to get up and share their expertise. So guys, it's such a powerful tool to use speaking in your business, and highly, highly recommend getting out there, as we're suggesting, and finding these little opportunities.
Yeah, I just want to touch on that, about what you said about individual. There's so many different events on there. Events that are either expos, there's little events, there's Chamber of Commerce, there is literally events that people need speakers for. And if you have the right topic, the right content, you can get yourself booked pretty rapidly, pretty easily. You just got to go find out where these events are happening and contact the people and say, listen, I speak about this particular topic. It's my topic. I'd love to be a part of it. What do you want me to do? And then you think about talking about how do I get paid for that. And there's all sorts of different methods and models around that. We won't go into that too much, but you can start to get yourself out there, get your tailored little talk ready. You know, you probably want to get a 45-minute to an hour presentation ready, something you can cut back a bit if you only need to do half an hour, or something you can expand on a little bit if you need to fill in some extra time. But get out there and find places to speak. There's so many opportunities this day and age to speak. And as Judith was saying, just get out there and start. I think we've got Judith back. Hey, Judith, welcome back.
Third time lucky.
Hey, I know you were talking about fishing the small fish or big fish in a pond. Let's just finish off with that thought, then I've got a couple of little questions about that for you.
Yeah. So the thing is to find where your ideal market is and to market yourself into that pond rather than trying to be everything to everyone. People tend to spread themselves, you know, shotgun approach to everyone. And I think it's far better to go, who's my ideal client, who really could do with the services or products that I have to offer, and to make yourself available and positioned properly in that particular pond. Think of what's of interest to them. So what bait, if you like, they're going to use to catch the fish who you're going to be of genuine help to.
Yeah. Now, while you're away there, we're talking about speaking and speaking engagements, and Heather and I do a lot of speaking, and we're talking about the importance of it doesn't have to be a 4,000 person audience. You know, it can be really, really small. Heather and I both spoken in front of, I think, 1 or 2 people at a time, you know, and sometimes you sort of think, what am I doing this for? But at the end of the day, they may be the very people that could be your biggest fans. What sort of, have you ever spoken at a very small event, and give us a little rundown of what that was like for you?
Yes, certainly. I find cozy little groups of 5 or 6 people have a lovely intimacy about them, and you can be casual and you can connect from the heart to these people and just talk, and they feel the question.
not sure if we've still got it. Are you there, Heather? Is it me or?
I'm here. I'm here. Oh no!
She was about to give this the biggest piece of the whole day.
I know. I know. So, guys, this is a great opportunity. I just want to jump in and say something. So, you know, Andrew and I do make it simple. There. She dropped out. Okay, there you go. So Andrew and I do make it simple once a week, and this is such a perfect opportunity for all of you that are trying to get your voice out to the world. You can use Google Hangouts like this. You are going to have technology issues. It's just part of, you know, dealing with live content online, but don't let it scare you. I think right now this show is a great example of how you work around little techie things, because I know, Andrew, when I was speaking to one of the groups and I was showing them Google Hangouts, they were so freaked out, like, what happens if, you know, I don't know, if there's a dog that barks in the background, or if I forget what I'm going to say, you know? And I said, look.
You know what? Go on.
I just said, look, you guys, it's technology. That's what's so cool about it, is because you can absolutely be yourself, and you should be. And you know what? There are going to be people that drop off the calls. Today, I don't have my lower third of my name badge on because Google won't let me put it on for whatever reason. And you know what? You just don't let that get in your way, and you can use these platforms to get your word out. So what were you going to say?
You're right. You know, technology is gonna break somewhere along the way, and you can't really get upset about it. I was on a call earlier today. I was doing an interview, and the host had all of their spiel ready. They do a lot of other marketing around what they're selling, and so just before I came on, the person doing the interview had all their notes ready, and as soon as they went to screen, they lost all their notes, and they're like, "Wow, where do I go?" And they were floundering around, and they had no idea. But they were all a little bit flustered. But at the end of the day, you know what? That's what happens. This sort of stuff happens. You know, I think I was doing a hangout with you one day, and there was some guy banging on my door. He's like, "Wang, I'm working from my home office," and he's whacking on my door, and he could hear me talking. He knew I was home, and he wanted to get my attention. He kept whacking the door, and I'm like, I can't leave because I'm on video. I can't just get up and walk out. It's not like a phone call where I can put it on mute. And I'm like, what's going on here? So I had to I think we had a guest on at the same time, and I turned my camera off. I forgot to turn my sound off. I ran out, tripped over something, and everybody heard it. And I'm like, Anyway, there's a whole bunch of things that's going to happen when it's technology. Just enjoy it and say, well, if that's the worst that happens to you, then you're probably living a good life.
Hello.
Hey, we're back. All right, so Judith. Let's finish off on that last point you were making, because I wanted to make sure you covered that off. It's pretty important.
Just about the size of the audience. Small and intimate can be absolutely great. Medium is great because you're leveraging even more, and some of the dynamics are very exciting about large groups and speaking to large groups. So it's all good. I think mentally prepare, you've got a message that works, that can help people, and I think it's going to work well just speaking, full stop. Just get your confidence up and get going.
Great advice. Now, what's a quote or a mantra that you like to live your life by?
One of the things I like to say to my trainers is with ease and speed. I think if we have a mental attitude of getting into anything that we do with ease and speed, it makes things so much more doable and pleasant. And I think all too often we sit down at the computer and it's something like tax return that's got to be done or something awful, and we go, oh, this is going to take me forever, I hate this, before we even start. And then of course it is exactly that. It takes weeks and weeks and weeks to do it. We put it off, we don't get it done. Whereas if you sit down, and I love Parkinson's law. So Parkinson's law states that your task expands to fill the time that you have to do it. So if you say, I've got half an hour to finish my entire tax return, I'm going to sit down, it's going to be easy, I'm going to get it done, ease and speed works every time. I had to laugh, though, that 3.5 years ago when I had my daughter, all of my network, of course, knew my motto, and I was always telling them, ease and speed, ease and speed. So the messages came flooding in when I went into labor, and they said, now, Judith, do this with ease and speed.
I love it. I love it. So, Judith, you've been able to coach many people around the world, thousands of people probably all over the world. What would you like to be known for?
Training for me is not something I do, it's something I am. And people who get that really understand for themselves that it's in their fiber. Speaking and training and wanting to do this is an absolute passion. And so I want to be an enabler of that. What I do is help people that are naturally talented, who have it within themselves to do this so naturally, and I make it easy for them to leverage those skills. Because so many people who come to me are amazing presenters, they're amazing speakers, they are really good trainers, but they don't know how to get themselves out there. They don't know how to position themselves properly and lucratively. So I'm a specialist for trainers, for marketing yourself, for positioning yourself properly with credibility. And I really see myself enabling those people who have natural talent and gifts to not leave it at natural talent that no one ever gets to see. I help them in an easy step-by-step way to get out there.
Nice. Now we're going to start to come to the end of the show, but before we do that, I'd love to know one major life lesson that you have learned.
I think lots of people think of life lessons as something terrible that happened and they learned from it and they picked themselves up and they carried on. And I was thinking about this and thinking my biggest life lesson really wasn't something terrible. Quite the contrary, it was something amazing. And it was the whole idea that when I was so young and got into this so very young, I didn't know what I didn't know. So I had huge audacity, and I simply hadn't stopped for long enough to think that there could be problems, to think that maybe I shouldn't do this. I was so young, so naive, that I simply did it. And I thought, well, what have I got to lose? And I think often the older we get, the more scared we get, the more we know, and that fear can hold us back, and we think, what if this happens, and what if that happens? And that often prevents us from actually giving it a go. And I'm so blessed that my life lesson was naivety, to say, who knows, this might work. I didn't even think that it wouldn't work, because I hadn't even got that far to say, what if it doesn't? I simply just did it. And I like to tell people when they say, what if I do this and it doesn't work? What if this happens? And I say, what if it does? What if what you do does work? What if you're able to take the skills and the natural gifts you have and the experience you have and make it work? You know, I've got a trainer who just last month has just made her first 50K month. So she's just hit the barrier of $50,000 in her training business. And she was salaried at about $68,000 for a year. And she's just done 50 in a month. If she had said to me, what if it doesn't work, she'd still be in that salaried position. But I look at her and I go, what if it does work? These are the results that you can get.
Awesome, Judith. That's really, really inspirational. Thanks for sharing that. How can people find out more about you?
Well, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, Judith Wilson, and it's Judith with an E. So my name is spelled for St. Jude. So it's Judeth Wilson. And you can look up the Trainer's Ultimate Toolkit, or you can find any of my books online. And my corporate training business is www.upfrontcommunications.com.au.
Brilliant. Now, as we say goodbye, Andrew, do you have any last words for our listeners?
No, I appreciate you getting on, and I know we had a few technical challenges, but I think we soldiered through them. So thank you for taking the time today, Judith, and we'll put those links on our show page too. So if anybody didn't catch those links, they'll be on our show page. You can click straight through to Judith's site from there. But thank you very much. We appreciate you taking the time to join us today.
An absolute pleasure. It's been lovely speaking to you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much, everybody. And as always, come on over to makeitsimple.tv, and we have more information about Judith over there, and we'd love to hear what you think. And if you thought our technical little glitches during this show were as fun as we thought. Anyway, guys, thanks so much. We'll talk in next week's episode. Makeitsimple.tv. Bye-bye.
Bye.